This one actually was that's the first one. That was the first one I ever did. My name is Tyler Levitetz. This is my installation at Arts Warehouse. These are the Boiz. They're all made out of recycled sheet metal, all welded to bases and hand painted. Depending on the day, I usually try to make at least one a day. There's days where I can blast through quite a bit depending on how I'm feeling, but each day, I mean, if I'm going for it or not, consciously or subconsciously, they're always going to kind of express my emotion and how I'm feeling that day. It's been a great release to kind of personify some of my nasty thoughts and emotions into these guys and just have a laugh with them at the end of the day. Each one definitely has their own unique characteristic. I've tried to play with more three-dimensional ones and kind of the more complex the work gets, I feel like it takes away from the raw emotion and being able to just blast them out quickly and freely. So I try to kind of keep them one-dimensional and simple. I'm not trying to make like a political statement or show you how good I can weld or sculpt. It's more just, I want you to have a quick laugh without thinking too much about it. I mean, the real thing, I started to get really frustrated with welding because it was, you know, you could put up these complex structures and these cool ideas, but at the end of the day, it was just like a rusty chain, or it just didn't look finished, and it didn't look like something you'd want in your house or even around it. And I remember the first day I painted those and then started doing the line work in it. I was like, this is kind of it. And this is what I've been focusing on ever since. I still make at least one of these a day. It's like almost therapy to me. Like I can't not. It's almost like my habit. I mean, I don't know like a good comparison, but I almost want you to walk in and be like, those are so stupid, but you like can't like stay away from them. Almost like a Miley Cyrus song that comes on the radio, and like you hate that you love it, but you like roll your windows up at the stoplight and you blast. That's kind of what I want the Boiz to be. I don't want it to be too crazy or overthought. And it's been cool to see people resonate with a single one. Usually people walk in the room and they like a single one or something speaks to them. And I've thought a lot about that and why people get attached. And I think it's because we're always going to have our inner child in us. Even if you're a fancy businessman walking down the street, you see one of these and it might remind you of your old teddy bear or something weird. Like I know for me, if I go to Walmart or like CVS, I always have to go to the toy section. I usually don't buy anything, but like I really want to. And this way, like you never really have to grow up. You can buy art and not action figures. So yeah, I just wanted to keep them simple, playful. Didn't want them to be too serious. Just wanted to make something that's fun to look at, more or less. Started with just some flat ones. Some of the older ones, the more simple ones, are kind of in the back as I started to kind of get bored and, you know, started to cut things in half. I love Henry Moore is probably my favorite sculptor of all time. So I like a lot of the negative space is really interesting to me. And on days where I wasn't feeling so good, I actually started pulling the guts out, so to speak, which created like a really kind of cool effect. Add some dimension. I'm playing now with the right type of metal so some can actually move a little bit in the wind without breaking, obviously. This is an interesting one. So this was in the very beginning when I was using a lot of found objects. So I really don't know what this is or these are, but I found them on the railroad tracks. And I welded those on. So everything else is just sheet metal. But as I find more objects, I'll incorporate those into the bigger ones as well. That was probably the most difficult thing for me. I had them all made and they've just kind of been sitting in my living room for all this time. And actually placing them out properly, where they looked best, distance from each other. Actually a lot of thought put into that. I was running around like a madman that day. Because you have a lot of similarities and a lot of similar color schemes, so I move stuff around a lot. But to see them in a group is kind of what makes them. I love seeing them alone, but in at least groups of 3, or in this case 100, I think that's kind of where they get pretty crazy. There's just a lot to look at.